Dr Samuel Motsuenyane, who is a founding member of the National African Federated Chamber of Commerce and Industry, also known as Nafcoc, and an integral player in the formation of African Bank, passed away at the age of 97. Since his passing, tributes have been pouring in. To help us reflect on Dr Motsuenyane, we are joined by Dr Thabo Dloti, who is the chairman of African Bank. Dr. Dloti, thank you so much for your time. Let's start off with, have you had an opportunity in the past to engage with Dr Motsuenyane, and what was your sense of the relationship the two of you had?
Thank you so much. Yes, I have had an opportunity to engage with Dr Motsuenyane, whom we sought in the last few years to make sure that not only is he a founder, but he's also an integral part of everything we are doing for him and his foundation. So absolutely, it is with deep and heartfelt sorrow that at African Bank today, we have learned of his passing at age 97, and it is something obviously that is momentous and sad for all of us.
In your engagements with them, I mean, when I read on the history of African Bank, it says here that the idea of African Bank came at a Nafcoc meeting in Soweto, and the vision was to overcome the obstacles forced on by Black people in accessing funding. In your engagements with Dr Motsuenyane, what was his sense of the way African Bank had grown and also the impact it was having on Black people?
Yeah. I think the first thing is that African Bank, as he related to us, was conceived in 1964 in a Nafcoc conference they had, and it took them to 1975 to actually launch the bank. Their vision at its heart was to help Black entrepreneurs to have access to opportunities. Clearly in our engagement with him, he emphasized that vision of African Bank helping Black entrepreneurs to participate meaningfully in the economy. His challenge to us was that vision had not been fully realized, and we were now in a position to lead the bank, not only to help the bank to achieve the earlier vision, but to make sure that it's actually realized and it's got a bigger impact. That really motivated us, amongst other things, to launch the business banking as we have launched it in the last couple of years. It is really was about realizing that vision.
With that said, then, what has been I suppose, the achievement so far in realizing that vision that Dr Motsuenyane had for the bank? What would you say have been some of the things you've been able to tick off the box so far?
Yeah, I think Dr Motsuenyane spoke boldly of a bank for the people, by the people, for the people. And it's an important concept. It rolls off the tongue, but at its heart, it was the bank has to have a meaningful impact, and I've attested to that from a Black business point of view. The second element, and we have launched a business banking, and we really believe we're going to grow from strength to strength on that. The second one was the bank needs to be owned by Black people. We have launched a staff share scheme recently, and we really believe that that is step one into making sure that we take African Bank back to being owned by Black people in this country. We have other steps in that regard that we hopefully are working towards to make sure that we do realize that vision. And this is really testimony to the challenges he threw at us, and also testimony to the vision he had that he felt strongly that we really needed to live up to.
He was hailed for his contributions in mentoring Black business executives as well as entrepreneurs. In your perspective, how do we continue that in the business fraternity in terms of mentoring those Black executives as well as the entrepreneurs?
Firstly, I think the generosity of time that he gave to all of us, not just people coming in from mainstream business, but from all walks of life in different communities, to my mind, is testimony to the investment he was making in each individual he was touching. So that's the first challenge I think we have to have, that we have to give opportunities and time to others. Secondly, the organizations and movements he formed that allow smaller individual business people to belong to part of a bigger whole, that allows the bigger whole then to represent them and to advance their causes, was another, again, example of somebody who saw it fit to support individuals to make sure that their strength is shown through a collective will. I believe that as a businesses, we need to ensure we support those organizations that support Black businesses, that allow them to be more represented in a wider context, in forums and in situations that they can't for themselves. For us, that's important, that we are able to be part and parcel of those movements to allow that. Lastly, it's really to create these institutions that do touch on the individuals that are really making the actual difference on the ground. To the extent that we are not supporting Black businessmen on the ground, we are not giving the opportunity to people that are truly going to transform society, because employment is going to come through job creation on the ground by people that set up businesses.
As we're having this conversation, reflecting on that impact that he had on the SA business landscape, how would you be remembering him?
We really believe that promoting and growing small businesses in this country is a critical part of his vision. That's where we're going to focus our attention. That's laying the building blocks around that. It's really an area which we as a bank, we feel strongly. It's an area which talks to our vision, it talks to the real need on the ground, and it talks to what we were set up for. So we would be focusing our efforts and our strategies into making sure that is delivered.